Welcome to another dog vlog. What do you think the odds are that my Bentley here, who's 10 years old, can actually skateboard on this longboard? Comment below if you think he can. For anybody that doubted my labrador here, that is proof that any dog can learn how to skateboard, and that's what I'm gonna teach you, how to teach pretty much any dog to skateboard. Not only get on the board, glide on the board, and push on the skateboard, but how to actually enjoy it. This is my favorite part about this step-by-step process I'm about to share with you, is it's not just forcing your dog to get on a skateboard to ride because it looks cool, although that is a well-known fact. I don't want your dog just to learn to skateboard. I want them to enjoy the process, and that is what I'm going to show you. And if you guys are new here, click that subscribe button. Do it for our mission to save all the damn dogs. All right, let's jump into this video right meow. Step one, get your skateboard and put it on a stable surface. And what I mean by that is a place where the wheels won't spin at first, because the worst thing you can do with teaching your dog to skateboard is to get them spooked up front. And I have some tips at the end on how to avoid that, but the first step is put it on a surface where it's not gonna easily roll. Grass is a great way to do that. If you're starting indoors, which if your dog is super newbie at this, I do recommend to start inside. You can just put something under the board, like a pillow or a short box. That way the board won't roll yet, because step one is encouraging your dog to interact with the skateboard on their own will, and then rewarding highly with toys, treats, or praise once they do. Yes, good job, Ben. So as soon as he approached it, he doesn't seem nervous. I just have some beef lamb tripe dehydrated here for a treat. Good job, Ben. And this is important because skateboards and longboards have grip tape on the top of them, which is kind of a rough texture and can be scary or uncomfortable to dogs who are not used to it. So I would practice this over several days, up to several weeks before you go on. For step two, after your dog has mastered the ability to get on and off the board, being around the board, touching the board, and being excited about it, that is so important. You want them to enjoy it. Then you start slowly and over time moving the board while they are touching it. Often, many dogs only want to put 2 paws on it at a time. That was how Bentley was. That's fine. This trick and this command is all about small baby steps and progression over a long period of time. This is one of those that you do not want to rush. So this is what it looks like for step 2. Come on, Vic. Good boy. Good job. So I'm just going to move the board back and forth slowly, and you'll know I'm still on the grass. I'm not putting this on a flat surface yet because I don't want it to start rolling fast. This is all about just getting them used to rolling it like a 1/2 inch at a time. And as they stay on it and as they seem not scared and excited, you just reward. You can reward with toys, treats, or praise. If you're watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, it's raining outside, I don't have cement near me, I don't have grass near me, it's snowing outside, no big deal. You can do every step, thanks Ben, that I'm going through indoors. So this is not just an outdoor activity. You can absolutely do all of this inside on carpet or hardwood or tile. You know your dog will be ready to go on a more smooth, flat surface with the skateboard once they are so excited to be on the board that they're actually offering the behavior of physically getting on the board. Yes, Bentley, just like that, without you asking. That's the key. Once you bring this board out and it's to the point where your dog does this, before you even ask them to or encourage them to, that is when you are at least starting to get ready to move on to the next step, because you want to have such a positive association with your dog getting on this board, and you want them to love the experience so much by constant, consistent rewarding through treats, praise, and toys, that they want to be on that board, because their desire to be on the board is going to be key when it starts moving, because that can be really scary for some dogs, huh, Ben? Mwah. So you want them to trust their feet on that board and trust that it's going to be a positive experience. Now that we're on a flat, smooth surface, this doesn't mean it's time for your dog to jump on and go. This just means that we have to basically do step 1 and step 2 all over again, but on a hard, solid surface. It's important that when you start on a new flat surface, that you also make sure that the board isn't just going to roll away. One easy hack is use an extra tennis shoe, put underneath the board between the wheels. Shoes have a nice grip. It'll keep the board from like sliding out from under the dog, because again, guys, and I'll talk about this more in detail at the end, If your dog gets spooked by this, it's a really, really big setback. So let's jump on to the board and see what it looks like. Come on, Ben. Sometimes I'll just put my foot under here and then see, yep, there you go. Good job, Ben. So this is step one, where you're getting them used to being on the board, but the board is on a different surface. It feels different to the dog, and this may seem really slow to you, but this is the fastest way to success. Once they get comfortable getting on and off the board, come on, Ben, up, good boy. Good job. You start doing movement. So you see how he's kind of moving and working on his balance. I only reward when his paws are touching the board. If he jumps off, he doesn't get scolded or disciplined, but he does not get rewarded either. When his paws are on the board, that's when he gets a treat, praise, or toys. Hi, good job, Ben. Then you can start moving the board slowly, progressively over time. That's the theme here, guys. This is not something you want to rush. It's also for the safety of your dog. Safety of your dog is priority over everything. Good job, Ben. Back and forth. Slowly over time, you can start moving the board forward, 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 maybe backward, and just get them used to that motion. And you constantly and regularly, good boy, Ben. Or you can give treats. Good job, Ben. Good job. So you'll see how Bentley wants to stay on that board. And this is what it looks like when you have practiced a positive association between your dog and the skateboard. And this is what you want to get to before you ever move to a hard surface. In order to get him to start moving on his own, we need to walk up to the board. There you go. Yes, good job. Come on, come on. Good job. There you go. Yes. So you'll notice that Bentley just kind of jumps on and goes, and that's what happens over time. What your dog's gonna probably do is they're gonna probably put on and it'll start rolling, and often they're gonna wanna jump off. And so that's why you see me putting my feet between the wheels. A really big part to teaching your dog to skateboard that I don't hear a lot of people mention is your ability to control the board, because if you can control the board really well and efficiently, then you're gonna create a better experience for your dog. And what I mean by that is, okay, Ben, get on the board. When Bentley gets on the board, you'll notice my foot goes by the front, if you guys can see that, by the front wheel. And what this allows is for me to keep the board from just sliding out from ahead of him. It also allows me to quickly stop the board if it's going too quickly. Longboards tend to go really fast compared to a regular skateboard, and I don't want that to happen. The progression at this point from getting on the board, pushing forward, and actually skateboarding is a function of rewarding them at the right time. And over time, as you continue to practice this, your dog is going to get more uncomfortable with going further and further on the board. If your dog only wants to put 2 paws on it and push with their back paws, which is what Bentley did at first, I simply started scaling back the rewards and only giving treats when he left 3 paws on the board. What that did was teach him, okay, I don't get as many rewards when my 2 paws are on the board, but when I have 3 paws on the board, I get reward. And then when I use my back paw to push and get closer to mom who's standing in front of the board, I get even more rewards. You do this over time, you're gonna have a skateboarding dog. Now, let's jump into the bonus and safety tips, which is really important. First bonus tip is start with a longboard. Even if you have a little dog, these tend to be a little bit easier to control, at least in my experience. And especially for larger dogs, it gives them more surface area to stand on. If you have a dog who's really nervous about the feeling of the board on their paws, go to a local sports store or skateboard shop and get just the grip tape. The grip tape is the black stuff that you see on top of the board. It's basically a big sticker. You can get that grip tape and just put it on the floor. You don't even have to have it on a board, and get your dog used to that. You can even take the trucks off, and the trucks are the part of the board, the metal part that hold the wheels. It's just a simple screwdriver. You can take those off and start with just the board. In fact, that's probably what I would recommend. Start with just grip tape, then start with a board flat on the ground without wheels or trucks, then add the trucks and wheels back on. The slower you go with this and the more time you take in the beginning getting them to love being on the board, the more success you're going to be able to have. I also think this is incredibly important to note. I probably should have put this at the beginning of the video, but this is not something you should be working on, in my opinion, until you've mastered some basic obedience skills with your dog. And it's not that your dog necessarily needs basic obedience skills, although that helps, especially the touch command. But working on basic obedience with your dog builds a trust between you and him or her. And what that means is when you're encouraging your dog to get on a board, they're going to be more likely to trust you if you've been working on them for the past year on sits, downs, place, stay, touch, things like that. The more the dog has confidence in you, the more likely they're gonna trust any situation you attempt to put them in. I know you guys are gonna be asking me, Rachel, how old does my dog have to be in order to start working on this? I absolutely have done this with puppies. I worked on this with Finn when he was a puppy. I think it's great to start early. You just gotta take it slow. As for safety tips, I don't recommend putting the skateboard on a hill. I've seen people try to put the board on the hill so that their dog just gets used to the movement. I actually never allow Bentley to go on a hill, even though he's pretty comfortable on the board, just because I don't trust it. This is not one of those exercises that you can do over and over and over again every single day for hours at a time, because it's using a lot of different muscles that dogs are not used to using. And I learned this the hard time. When we were first starting out, Bentley learned so quickly that we were doing it all the time. And I noticed he was kind of limping one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, I injured him. He didn't fall, but I was worried. Took him to the vet, and the vet, we did x-rays, we did everything, and he was totally fine. So I showed the vet what we were doing with the skateboard, and he was like, oh, he probably just strained a muscle because you're doing it too much, because that kicking back motion on top of a board is not a normal movement for a dog. If your dog gets spooked, what do you do? My recommendation is go all the way back to step one and start over and go even slower this time. The other thing I want to say is this video is definitely more of a higher level overview. If you guys have any technical questions or want a more in-depth video, comment that below. If I get enough comments, I will do more series on this. This is really just the first series. And what's really important to me, guys, is I want you to send me videos of you guys trying this. If you're going to try teaching your dog to skateboard, I want to see it. Like, I make these videos to help you guys, and when you guys send me videos on Instagram, the YouTube community space, or on Facebook, it brightens my whole freaking month. So take a photo, take a video, find me on Instagram or Facebook at Rachel Fasaro, or under the YouTube community tab, you can actually upload a photo and tag at Rachel Fasaro, and I'll see it. Make sure you do that because I want to connect with you guys and I want to see your guys' progress. I have a ton of other videos down below of other fun trick trainings that you guys can go and watch as well. And don't forget to click that subscribe button. Help us on our mission to save all the damn dogs. All right, Ben, what do you say? Let's wish them a beautiful day. Goodbye. That was awesome. I wish I got him on camera, but animal control was driving by and he was waving and he was like, oh, look at that dog skateboarding. That's funny.